Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kickabout Show. A wonderful, nice show by the Grassroot Chat Boys. In the studio, you have Dunk, the Angry One, Neil, and this time we are talking about not just only how or why it went all wrong with Man United this season, but what can Man United actually do to rebuild the team moving forward. If you like what you hear, ladies and gentlemen, please hit the subscribe button, notification button. Follow us on every platform, TikTok, Instagram, and of course, you can go to our website, grassrootchats.com. This is a show that the boys all seem that they're going to enjoy. Dunk is wearing red. Yes, I know it's in England. Angry One is wearing red. Yes, I know it's Arsenal. And Neil is wearing some color. I don't even know what that is. Okay, so this season has gone on, and as we know,
It's a
Ajax.
reggae
Oh,
reggae.
there you go.
Are
This
you
is
sure? I thought it was a reggae sauce top, but
yeah, but you thought wrong. So it's all good. It's Ajax. So this season has gone on, and Man United has been poor, terrible. From there are probably two players that have actually done well in Ronaldo and De Gea, in my opinion, and every other person has been found wanting. On the 12th of April, Man United announced that Ten Hag has signed as the new manager. Now, before we start talking about the future or what might possibly actually go right in terms of rebuilding, let's start with you, Doc. If you could sum up in a few sentences, well, I doubt you can, but if you can, what has gone wrong for Man United this season? Where do you think the major talking point is? Because I'm sure there are loads of opinions that people have.
Oh, we were talking about managers last episode, weren't we? And they kind of got cold feet with Ollie. Like just to clarify, he came second in the full season he had. Yeah.
Yeah, he had been there for 3 years and finished fourth,
Yeah.
third, and second.
Yeah. Like that's not that bad. And then like as soon as things weren't going their way, they gave him the boot. So like maybe he wasn't the man for the job, but I think that's the first point to their season where it started going wrong is where they gave him the boot. The second point was appointing an interim manager, which doesn't seem to have worked out at all.
A lot of people say that, but you have situations in other clubs where interim managers actually do well. I mean, the one that comes from the top of my head is Gus Hiddink for Chelsea. So, what's the fact that people say, oh, the fact that they use the term interim is what affected the Man United team? Is that reasonable enough?
I think it is reasonable enough. Like they Man United shouldn't have been appointing an interim manager. I don't think they should have got, if they were going to sack, they took the decision to sack Ollie, and if they did that, they should have had their house in order and have something prepared rather than go down the path they have. So I think that's a fully justified criticism to say that they shouldn't have been going down that road. The final thing for me is that Rangnick, for whatever reason, I don't think he's done a very good job. If you look at how they've played, the performances, the club harmony, like I don't think he's taken them in any good direction at all. So they're the three main things for me.
Well, touching on what Dunk said, the angry one, and hiring an interim manager, Man United not doing well. So all of a sudden, a club that's had a culture or tradition of getting things right, particularly with the Fergie era, where does it just all go wrong from the top? I mean, I wish Big Steve was here. He likes talking about the board and getting things wrong. But where all of a sudden, why would a club that have been getting things right? Or was it a case of Fergie just getting things right on the pitch, so he blocked out all the crap that was happening on top?
possibly. But he had, like Wenger, he had almost complete control. So when one person has everything, then they go, and then it splits it out into different people doing the same job. But with Man United, I think the real issue is they don't really have the football nous anymore. They don't have any experienced people in post to the job. And conversely, people say that you need ex players who know what it is to wear the shirt, blah blah blah. Man United have that. They had Ollie, they had Fletcher, but it didn't seem to be enough because there wasn't any strong leadership. There wasn't any direction from any of the staff. It's almost like jobs for boys. You've got a culture of malaise at the club that permeates throughout the whole, or most of the playing staff that hasn't been addressed, no matter what the manager is. So whether you go from a disciplinarian with Gus Hiddink, stroke Mourinho, or more laid back guy like Solskjaer, the results will end up being the same. The players were not performing, but it's always the manager's fault. There's no accountability. So that's the fundamental problem with Man United, is that they have a culture of people who just do their job and they're not competitors. So it's like that guy who works in a supermarket who doesn't give a damn about customer service, who just turns up, gets his shift done, and then does one, doesn't care. And that's what you've got in essence with the Man United players. They'll play the game, win, lose, or draw. They're getting paid, whatever. They don't understand what it means to wear the shirt, and more importantly, they don't understand what it means to be a competitor and play for yourself, play for the pride to win the game, not because you're a Man United player, but because you're an actual competitor. And that doesn't seem to, not many people seem to have that ethos at the club at the moment with the players they've got. So you've got problems off the pitch, but then you've got problems on the pitch as well. So that's why you're basically effed.
There was a lot of talk that when Solskjaer took over, especially with some pundits like Gary Neville and saying, "Oh, the whole Man United way," and Solskjaer bringing back the identity. Solskjaer did finish fourth, third, and second, which seemed like there was some improvement, and that's why there was a whole lot of talk about Man United possibly going for the title this season. Now, in terms of how do we go from that to a short window where, as Dunk mentioned, maybe they got scared with the investment that was made, Sancho, Ronaldo, and Solskjaer not really clicking, and they decided, you know what, let's go out and get somebody else interim. How do you automatically just, as the angry one mentioned, all of a sudden the players are not competitive. These are guys that showed steady improvement under Solskjaer. How do you just go from that to losing it all through one small window, Neil?
There's so many points in that, just like such an open question with regards to what's gone on. They didn't give Mourinho long enough, or didn't trust him enough. They gave Solskjaer too long. Where would not necessarily everyone was asking for Solskjaer to be sacked, but there was definitely a downward trajectory after he brought in a load of players. So were those players his players, or were they the board players? Where did that lie? The recruitment has been poor. I said on the last show of how good Graham Potter's done, and his recruitment has been at Brighton. So I'm not even going to say Klopp or Pep's, but Brighton's recruitment has been perfect for the squad that they've got and how that's gone through. When Man United was signing players, it just looks like they went for as many household names as possible. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing if you're going to get players that are going to come in and play for you, but they haven't come in and played for anyone. So the Man United way, regardless of if it exists now, the old Man United way isn't in the belief of the players, the board, the coaching staff, the recruitment, from the top all the way down. So they need to get an identity back. And that's going to be key, and first and foremost, of having players that are passionate for that team, and players that, like the younger one said, want to wear that shirt and go out there. They need to have that. But I think that's the same for any club, right? But what is the identity? So that needs to be done at the top level of going, right, this is what we want. Okay, we'll trust you to buy your players, but your mandate is to have this. We want to have attacking football from the off, and that's Man United, right? But we want to fight for the last minute, and if we need to shift it up to play a formation that's 4-5-1 against a real good team, then we can do that. But at the moment, they don't have any of that, and that's not going to be a quick fix. Now, getting Rangnick in, was that a mistake? In hindsight, obviously everyone's got 2020 vision, but if everything he's coming out and saying at the moment in the press with regards to, he noticed that there was problems, he wanted to sign someone because obviously Greenwood got suspended, Van der Beek was gone, Cavani was injured, and he's looking for a striker. I heard the name that Diaz was mentioned, right? If
Yeah,
Diaz was mentioned,
he said Diaz, Vlahovic, and he said there were three key players. So I remember Diaz and Vlahovic or whatever, the striker that was supposed to go to Arsenal, ended up in Juve. He said those guys were available, that agents had spoken to Man United saying they were available, and Man United said no.
So if they were available and and those conversations being had, I think he's got every right to come out and say, look, I knew that we needed to strengthen because we did. We were relying on just Ronaldo, and you can, but to a certain extent, but you still need those other players. That Diaz in himself, if he had played for Man United as he's playing for Liverpool, that's a no-brainer, right? And not getting him in, regardless of what the situation is an absolute monumental screw up from Man United if they had the opportunity to sign him. Yeah,
But you know what though? I think that like, I agree with you, and I think that the recruitment is infantile. Like you say, they're just buying names because it's like FIFA. They're just buying names. No, looking at whether the person fits the club, blah blah blah, what their mentality is, how they cope with adversity. It's just for you to feel like you're going to win the league because you've bought a 37-year-old Ronaldo, an out of contract Varane, and what's his face, Sancho. So just because is naive, really, given the levels that Liverpool and Man City are at. You can't just buy those three players and then expect to win the league. But that's where Man United are at the moment.
Yeah, so the recruitment was an issue. Getting rid of Solskjaer, could they have given him to the end of the season? Like they haven't done anything since, right? So hindsight is a good thing. You can say, well, actually, they were just as bad off as they were. But I think the decline came from many moons before Solskjaer. Solskjaer did lift them up, and they were fourth and third. But that they still needed to be. It's Man United, right? Man United still need to be challenging for top two, the first one. If they're just getting second over Chelsea, for example, or just a second over Man City, that's not acceptable. They have to be like in the title race at the moment, like Liverpool and Man City are. That needs to be Man United's benchmark of where they're at. If they don't hit the title, fine. But obviously now they've got to rebuild, and that's the key thing. So Ranić. I get it from his point of view. He's probably really frustrated. He's got a job. They've appointed Ten Hag, but he wasn't their first choice either. Everyone knew it was Pochettino. So that's another issue for me. Like, they just need to get their house in order at the very, very top, and then work that through and go, right, we're going to keep you for 5 years, unless you're monumentally screwing up and they're 20th in the league or 15th, and that's not acceptable. But if they're up there, 7th, 8th, that's going to be good enough for him to make a mark and continue to continuously improve. Go on, JJ.
So obviously the best thing you can give a manager is time. And as you can see from Liverpool giving Klopp time. And in the last episode for Grassroot Chats, we were giving props to Arteta and Graham Potter. So managers come in and they explain to the board, this is what we want to do, right? And this is how we want to establish our team. The board has a look and goes, okay, we can invest in this. It looks like this might work. Back in the days, Fergie did it, Wenger did it. Fergie didn't even have as much instant success compared to the likes of Wenger. So Fergie leaves Man United. Every other manager that's coming, surely they would have gone, this is what I want to do, right? And this is, you need to invest. So you have David Moyes comes in. Giggs was interim for some time. Van Gaal comes in. Then Mourinho. Solskjaer. Carrick. Ralph, and then of course Ten Hag is coming in. So out of all those managers that's coming, and Solskjaer having the longest time out of most of those managers, and going from 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then having that bad inconsistent spell that they got rid of him, is it that the board particularly are just only interested in investing in instant success? And they're not particularly looking at, okay, look, let's just have a long project and hopefully stick to somebody. Dunk, what do you think? Go ahead, Neil. No, go ahead, Neil.
Okay, I was just going to say, they either should have stuck with him and actually come out and said, we're sticking with him anyway. We've got a whole project in place. But I think the trajectory was so low and no one could see them getting those players to play well under him is the reason why he went. And he was afforded a lot of time, but he did all right. And he granted, but there didn't look to be an improvement that was at least acceptable for anyone. I don't think he would have got them as high in the league as Ralph has.
Well, but you say that.
Well, we can't know, but I personally, I don't think he would have got them
I
as
agree.
high.
I mean, you said hindsight. You say that, but surely, even if he, let's assume Solskjaer being the Man United would have finished 10th. Let's agree that it would have been terrible. But surely you should give the man a chance, considering that he has shown a level of improvement for the past 3 seasons. And if you look at the seasons Man United have had, they were always inconsistent patches of losing games and dropping points. So,
but they'd signed all these players, right? And then that was supposed to be the improvement. So I think this was the sticking point. They've signed Jadon, they've signed Ronaldo, they've got Varane in, they've got the centre back. They should all be happy, hunky dory. And actually, the team just went completely the other way. So were they his signings? And that was who he wanted. Ronaldo was obviously you're having him anyway because it was going to City otherwise. So it was kind of you have to have him. But whatever went wrong, he couldn't handle that, and it went down so much that it was a problem. And I think that was kind of for me why he went, because he couldn't turn them back around into anything. And we know that none of them give a damn by the looks of it, but that's come over a course of 4 seasons of or 5 seasons before. Sorry, don't go on, man.
yeah, but
I'll answer JJ's question now. Yeah. That's fine. You just have a little. You have a little time in the limelight there, Neil. So anyway, the question about the managers and instant success. I'm going to answer it, but can I just ask you one question, JJ? Given what you've seen at Man U over the past few years, and like Moyes at West Ham, would you rather have had Moyes stay and given him time?
I would have given him the whole season. That definitely give him the whole season. The thing with the managers that have come in is I think people or the board look at it in a very different way, which I don't understand. But so David Moyes comes in. The key thing for me, though, and the key things that we mentioned, and I think one of the things that's actually kept Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, because he didn't always have it good. It is the managerial aspect of it. How do the players respond? Because at the end of the day, it's as you guys always mention, the manager should be able to get the best out of certain players. And in the last episode, again, there was talk about Arteta possibly not using everybody or getting the best out of everybody, but he's getting the best out of the team that he likes. Now with David Moyes, you had a champion winning team. All of a sudden, the players not playing for you.
I just interject there. If you ever want to know how good Fergie is, it was winning the championship with that team he had in his last season.
Yeah, I do. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, the team comes from winning the league, and then you come in. Now, this is the situation that we had. He made a lot of changes, and one of the things that a lot of players were not. Rio Ferdinand talks about it a lot, and he comes in being that he hadn't won a league title or he hadn't done anything in terms of trophy, and he's changing a proven way. And you change it to something that doesn't work or it's not players are not reacting to. So now the players lost respect. They're not going to play for the manager. And I think that's the same issue that they had with Mourinho. With Van Gaal, it was a case of, everything seems there's progress here, but people are not enjoying the football. The players are complaining the training tactics is wrong. People like Van Persie are saying things like, all that story.
So last question though, JJ. How do the players know it doesn't work when they didn't give Moyes the full season?
No, but he had lost it. No, I said they should have given Moyes a full season. But what I'm saying is that...
Yeah, but I know, but you said that the players said it's not working, but the players themselves didn't even give him the full season. So
I don't know why the players... I always talk about player accountability. I don't know why the players didn't give him a full season. But at the end of the day, in terms of managing a team, if what you are offering or people give Arteta a lot of stick. Oh, he didn't know what he was doing. A lot of things happened, but the players have never stopped playing for him. Never. If you look at it, they've had bad spells, they've lost games, but it never looks like, apart from the Aubameyang situation, which he got rid of Aubameyang, the players never look like they've stopped playing for him. I think you force the board's hand as a manager if the players stop playing for you. So that's why Solskjaer stayed longer than any other manager, because number one, he was working in terms of the players didn't stop playing for him, even as things got bad. Van Gaal too was the same, but I mean, Van Gaal won the FA Cup. Isn't the results are based on winning the trophy, but you still get rid of the manager. Mourinho, the same thing, won some trophies, but you still get rid of him because I think it looks like the players are not playing for him. But the question I was asking is, this guy is coming with a blueprint, or this is the project I want to do, and the board looks at it thoroughly, as we think or hope that they would, and buy into this philosophy you're trying to put. So I'm just wondering, with all these managers I've gone through, what did they show that Man United board went, yeah, we'll go with this, and then a couple of weeks down the line, he said, no, we're going to get rid of this guy.
Jeez, that was a long yes or no answer, wasn't it?
I did
I feel
kneel.
he's taking a
No,
leaf out of
I
my
didn't
book.
know.
That
I
was
wanted to ask him a quick question before I went into it. Jesus Christ!
I didn't kneel.
Right, I'll give my summary of Manchester United since Fergie went. So I think whoever came in after Fergie was on a hiding to nothing.
Moyes.
Never going to be as good as Fergie. Okay, so Moyes comes in. I think he should have been given time. I think they sacked him.
8 months
Then
in.
Say again?
They sacked him after 8 months, yeah. Very close to the end.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think they should have given him a season at least. Well, they knew it was going to be difficult after Fergie. So they sack him. Then they go, damn, we better bring in big names to keep the fans happy. So who was next? Was it Mourinho or Van Gaal? It was
Van Gaal
next.
Van Gaal, yes.
Yeah, so Van Gaal, Mourinho, big names, still not working as well. So by the time it gets around to Ollie, they're probably of the mindset, oh God, maybe we were wrong with Moyes. Let's do the project and actually give someone time. And to be fair to Ollie, I think he did pretty well considering what had gone before him.
Remember, Ollie was interim.
Mm-hmm.
He was. I don't think there was an original plan of actually making him a permanent manager till that wonderful run.
Yeah.
Even taking out PSG. So, and then that was, okay, this guy's done well. The fans are behind him. The players seem to be reacting to his style and they like him. So, I don't know. What Ten Hag...
Maybe that influenced their decision on having an interim manager again then. It worked for them the last time. They thought they could work for them again. But yeah, so when they got around to Ollie, he was the project manager. Great, we're going to give you time, learn from our mistakes. And then for whatever reason, they ran out of patience with him. Form started slipping. And now they're in the situation where they are now. So, I mean, Ten Hag has got a big job. And this is pretty crucial now for Man U, considering how things have gone for, a club of their stature over the past few years. He has to get it right. They have to get it right. They have to give him time. They have to restructure the club in the right way, because if this goes wrong, they're going to be in the doldrums for quite a while and not challenging.
Well, we don't know if this is going to go right. We hope it does. But the thing that I'm always talking about, no matter who the manager is, yes, he can put fear and it might work. Player accountability, man. Let us talk about player accountability. Playing for the shirt. Neil mentioned Brighton players, great, listening to the manager, doing things the right way. But player accountability. Now, looking at the squad that Man United has with on and off field events, Greenwood and stuff like that. But if you're looking at the players, so before we even go to talking about Ten Hag and what he may or may not do, let's look at the players. Apart from David De Gea and Cristiano Ronaldo, the angry one, no other player has played for the shirt, as you mentioned. They don't have a competitive spirit. Is it a case of getting just a manager comes in and goes, look, if you're not going to have a competitive spirit, I'm going to get rid of you. That's it. Do you think the board will actually support that in terms of a manager just coming quick fire? You go, I'm going to buy X, Y, Z.
Well, there's two ways to look at it. That's probably the most clinical way, because then you just get players in that actually fit your profile. But that's a massive job. You're looking at, 14, 15 players. The other way is, so the way that you get that, if you haven't got competitive spirit, you haven't got it. But I think some of these players do have it. But for me, as a player, you either respect the manager or you fear the manager. One of the two, whichever.
Or both.
But but it will give you. It will mean that you, as they say, run through walls for the manager and blah blah blah. You also have to have that own respect for yourself. It's not only about the manager. The manager's not on the pitch doing the job. You're doing the job. You can't let this guy megs you and beat you 4-0. You've got to do something about it. Like Keane says, just smash somebody if you're losing. Just that spirit that I don't want to lose, and they don't have it. So if they get a different manager in, maybe they buy into Ten Hag, maybe, but for how long? Because these players have bought into Oli for a little while, then they've drifted. They've bought into Mourinho for a little while, then they've drifted. So they've got form for having short-term attention span. So really, the cleanest way is to wholesale, make some wholesale changes, like a little bit like Arsenal have done. Get rid of the deadwood. But with Arsenal, they get rid of actual players who are substandard. But with Man United, these players are good players. They're just not the right fit for the club. So it's the same and different at the same time. But that, for me, they're going to have to do a massive overhaul of that club and get the right players in. So, like, I think I'd give an example the other day on WhatsApp about Arsenal spent 72 million on Pepe. He's deadbeat. He's dead food, as they'd say. But Liverpool, he doesn't fit the style, the profile, nothing. But then Liverpool brought in Diaz, hit the floor running because they've done the research. They've picked the right player. He ticks all the boxes with ability and personality and mentality. Boom, and that's what you call good recruitment. Not just buying a name, but buying a player that fits as well. And that's what Man United have to do if they want to get back to where they were. If they're just going to buy names, then they're going to have to get Fergie Mark II to pull all those players together, which is in this era is very unlikely.
In terms of success, though, clubs like Chelsea have shown that different managers can come in and have success. Quick fire, short time. They got rid of Conte even after he won the double the season before. They didn't give him much time. So managers are coming in with the Chelsea project is you come in, you need to at least give us a trophy or at least compete for something. If not,
but those players have the winning mentality. That's the difference between.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, in terms of, I understand the player accountability. The Man United team now mentally are weak. There's no that's fact. Anybody that argues against that is just trying to be nice. But Chelsea have had a whole different manager come in, and the players, as you have mentioned, respond to these different managers because of, I don't know, culture, or the manager has put that fear in them. But player accountability is big for me because you've said it many times, everyone, regardless of who your manager is, you should want to win the game. This is not kick about with your mates. So, but if you're looking at each player, it's just let's start with Rashford, Neil. It's your very good friend. You like him as much as you like Saka for Arsenal. Let's start with Rashford. This is a guy that was playing well last season, doing things. Went to the Euros, didn't play as much, had a bad situation, but all of a sudden, this season, he looks like he doesn't want to be there. I mean, there's him and other players, but let's start with him. In that kind of situation, that definitely has to be player accountability. What does the manager do? If you get rid of him, they're like, oh, it's too quick. If you try and play him for him to get back into form, they say, oh, you should play some other person. How do you help a player like Rashford?
There's a difference between Saka and Rashford. Saka tries, doesn't have an end product, but at least he's trying every week. But Rashford's just not given anything. But obviously it goes quite deep, right? Rashford has had a couple of good seasons. This season is dire. And by anybody's standards, any forward standard in the Premier League, it's a bad season. I'm not just on about Man United, Paul. I'm on about Premier League, Paul, right? It's not been a good season at all. Is it his fault? I'm going to say yes, but there's 60% player, 40% club involved in this. He's got to take a lot of responsibility and shoulder that. I know you love the word accountability, but what's the sports psychologist doing? What's the manager doing? What's the club doing? What's going on around him? So do you want to keep him, right? That's the first point of call. And yeah, they had no choice, right? Because they weren't buying any other strikers, so they were keeping him. But what have they done to figure out what his problem is? Because good players don't become bad players overnight. There's got to be a reason why. And
I assume this question is not just about Rashford. You're asking what the club is doing about these players getting into bad form.
Yeah, but we'll take him because he's probably quite pivotal to the team. His mistakes mean less to the club because they're forwards, right? Some forwards make mistakes, and all right, they don't score, but it really doesn't really cost you as many points as if you're further down the pitch. But what have they done for him? What are they looking to do? Because if they want to keep him and bring him back in and nurture him, you've got to nurture him. Maybe it's put your arm around him and go, right, I'll tell you, what's wrong? Why aren't you? And we can say it's Rangnick and he's only interim, or it was Solskjaer and he was just stale. whatever that reason is, and if it is just to the fact that he's stale, then you move him on, right? I heard he was quoted for 60 million for Rashford, and Arsenal were interested. And I hope that he's not worth 60 million anymore, and for Arsenal's sake that they don't go and buy him at 60 million, because that's at his current form isn't worth it. And it's a shame because he has performed in the Premier League, whereas arguably players like Martial haven't really ever set the Premier League on fire at all, or had great seasons, where Rashford has had, a good solid season for United, which isn't an easy feat to do, right? So what have the club done? What are they going to do? That's key. And then that can transcend down to everybody. But I think when you're looking at the club and the mandate of everything, how is that going to the under 18s, the under 21s, the under 16s, 14s, etc.? What's going on? What is this mentality for the club? How are they, if they're not helping out the first team, what are they going to be doing for the youth? Because they're not going to be able to bring them through, right? Because they're not going to have the right mentality in there. And maybe that's just winning, but there's also a lot of external influences that happen to footballers. Rashford got involved with helping to feed children, right? Which was fine and really great. Got him an MBE, I believe, and quite rightly so. And he did great work. But on the back of that, he must have been buzzing, right? And if you're buzzing outside of work, generally you go to work and you're pretty happy, right? Because you've done something massive. But this went the opposite way. So I don't know what went on there, but when someone's up, you keep them up, you keep them propped up, and then that hasn't happened. And he's probably the obvious. And then you've obviously got Maguire that's just disappeared into oblivion.
I mean, Rashford had a good last season, and as you said, things off the pitch went well, but things off the pitch started happening for him because of things he was doing on the pitch, and the amount of help and the buzz that you talk about. That is, as far as I'm concerned, the fact that you're doing things off the pitch that came from things you were doing on the pitch should help you. But apart from player accountability, another thing that gets me is we all love football, we support different teams. How is it that, and this goes out to you, Dunk, how is it that there's so very obvious things or very obvious changes to us, the fans, and this thing doesn't transcend to the Man United team? Positionally, where you need players to be, should be easy. Man United definitely needed a defensive midfielder. Did that happen? Nope. Needed a striker before Ronaldo came. Still need another striker. Did that happen? Nope. Maguire. I mean, Dunk, you ran what, 5K the other day, right? I'm sure you made good time. I'm pretty certain you're fitter than that guy. You don't have as big a head, but I'm sure you're fitter than that guy. So why is it that obvious mistakes that everybody can see, but these guys just don't make any changes?
I don't know. I think this comes back when we're talking specifically about Man U. Like there's something wrong at the club. There's something seriously wrong for it to have fallen this far from where they were. And like Neil was saying, like what are the club doing behind the scenes? Like when we're talking about the clear out, you've got to look at that squad, and I'd agree with Mike. They need to like ship out a good number of players. They need to decide who's worth keeping, who's got the quality, who's got the desire to play for Man U, and who is never going to get there or hasn't been pulling their weight. They need to have a good clear out about that for a start.
Let's start this clear out. You guys have mentioned clear out a few times. I'll call the players that were in the squad this season, and please tell me they should stay, be given a chance, they can improve, and we'll see. And I'll start with everybody's favorite player. Everybody's favorite. Look at Neil already smiling. Everybody's favorite player. The angry one. Maguire.
Out.
Okay. A bit more on that. Out. Why? You shouldn't give him a chance. He's the captain.
Why? Are you mad?
You don't think he will improve? Are you that guy that just send into the employee room? Fired. So you don't think he can improve?
Maguire is probably. Well, because maybe it's high profile, that's why. But he seems to be the worst defender in the Prem, and that might just be because he plays for Man United. I don't know, so you notice it, but he is dog doo doo. Yeah, terrible for playing for Man United. I mean, playing for somebody else, maybe he's alright, but playing for Man United, he is awful. England former side, because for England he plays well, so you can't knock him. But for Man United, he is diabolical, and other words that mean terrible. Yeah, he's dog shit.
Okay.
So how is he still playing for Man United over and over again? Nobody knows. He has to go. He has to.
Okay.
Come on.
Neil.
I mean, there's two reasons why I'd keep him. One, so we can
What?
one, so we can berate you every year. Good players don't become bad players overnight. So I think I'd keep. That sounds ridiculous as I've been slagging him off for the whole season, but can they not get through to him of what the position is? But yet Gareth Southgate can get through everything to him, right? So what isn't translating very well? Yeah, but exactly. So what's not translating well to him with regards to what he needs to do? But he plays against 17 slower
he plays
teams.
San Marino, and then he's playing Man City the week after. There's a big difference.
So I would keep him until Christmas, because I think you'd have a clear understanding of whether actually he isn't cut out for it, or they've just been having problems with conversing to him. Because I think he's, unlike others, he has passion in the game. He has just had a really poor season. And I mean like proper poor.
But is it because
Dunk?
I'm going to agree with Neil. Keep him there. I'm going to let Ten Hag have a go at getting him to work for Man U, because, like I said, I mentioned it before. I remember watching the Euros, and when he came back, he was like super good, like really good defensively, bringing the ball out, marauding runs upfield, distribution, all of that. So
Sorry,
Maguire's not a player. Again, just he's had an awful season. Like, he's one of the players that needs rebuilding, and I think you keep him and you let Ten Hag have a go.
Is this the guy that we give flop of the week every week, even when he doesn't play?
It is the guy,
the same guy, right?
And I gave it to him on Sunday, right? Yeah,
Okay.
even he was flop of the week, right?
I'm just confirming,
just
so
banter.
I wasn't sure if it's the same Maguire.
That's one reason why I'm keeping him, just for that reason, right? But I think, see, Duncan sees it as well. There's got to be something in there that's gone wrong that they need to look at and then go, yeah, okay. Because his attitude, to have the amount of stick that he's had, right? So if you look at his mentality, the amount of stick that he has had is probably as much as any player I've seen since Jason Lee from fantasy football, right? And that will take people back to, if they're old enough to know that, Badale and Skinner, for those that don't know, and they wrote Three Lions. So they used to take the mick out of him, and he literally, his career plummeted, right? And Maguire has continuously got back out onto the biggest stage in the world and played for one of the biggest teams and been dog doo-doo, like you said, but continuously trying his best, which hasn't been good enough. So mentality, he's got something. No, the poorest season of anybody in the world.
No, forget about the season. Forget the season, because he's been at Man United for a while. Has he had a good season for Man United?
Yes.
Because when?
The first season he signed.
First season he was good.
Yeah, he was very good.
Was that when you lot won the league, was it?
No,
he won the league.
He hasn't won the league, no.
He's just trying to bring it back in.
So you won it with Leicester, a poorer team.
Funny enough, he wasn't when he was playing, when Leicester won the I think he was swapped between him, what's his name,
Wes
the
Morgan?
German, Wes Morgan and Robert Hoot. I think they were rotating.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we're talking about Maguire. You look at the other defenders in Man United. So you have Victor Lindelof, stay out, give it a chance.
I'm gonna make it real easy for you. I would get rid of almost everybody apart from the Gea and Ronaldo. So you don't need to ask me any more questions.
Okay,
Thanks.
that's fine. That's fine. Where are you going to buy the other players from? Who? And if they're as bad,
I'd keep Fred because he at least tries.
And if they're as bad as we see them to be, who do you think is going to take them? To get rid, they want to put them in the charity box or something, and just say,
That's
if
not
you
the
want to
question. You asked me who you can get rid of. You didn't ask me where they're going to go. Thank you. That's the next episode. Thank you.
Okay, I'm very happy for you.
I'll answer it, JJ.
Please do.
I'm getting rid of. Again, like mediocre, not good enough for Man U, not even good enough as a squad player. If you're going to have someone filling out a squad player position, bring a youngster in.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let me stick with you, Dunk. You know, since you know how to ask that questions, unlike some. Eric Bay.
Well, what about me?
Relax, Neil. We're getting to you. Relax.
I need
Answer,
my
but
shine.
it's the answer.
God, I'll do Bailly as well. Like, again, he's been around so long, never fulfilled potential, just floating around as like a bit part whenever they need a backup defender out.
Wow. Okay, Neil, Phil Jones.
Oh, he's got to go. I mean, he's been there for like 300 years and not played. He's played like 2 games. Like, no, go on.
I mean, this is what I don't understand. So with the form that Harry Maguire has shown, and as Mike said, this is the same guy that we're giving flop every Sunday. And Phil Jones has been injured, as in he has had a good reason for why he hasn't actually played. He's looking like he's getting back to his ways. Why not give him a chance then?
No. Like, because he's injury prone, so I wouldn't keep him around for that. He's been there far too long and not had enough games, so his history isn't good. I'd also agree with that. I'd get rid of Bailly as well. And Lindelof hasn't even been a shell of his former self at the club. He isn't good enough to wear the shirt. And I'm not even a Man U fan, and I don't think he's good enough to wear the shirt. I think there's got to be a level of criteria that we're looking for. 85 plus on FIFA, right, is a bare minimum for Man United players. For those that, I mean, everyone plays FIFA apart from you. So, like, they're not good enough. I think Maguire only centre back, and Varane. Well, I don't know if he was good enough in the first place. He played at lesser quality perceived leagues, for my opinion, than them, but I would keep him in because he would be my backup defender to bring in as a good centre back. But I wouldn't start him.
Here's another one that is so the left backs for the club. They have Luke Shaw and Alex Telles. There've always been conversations or debates about who should play, who shouldn't play, who brings what to the team. The angry one, Luke Shaw, Alex Telles, stay, not stay.
Well, if these guys are keeping Maguire, you might as well keep Luke Shaw as well, innit?
If you're keeping Maguire, you might as well just keep everybody. Because personally, it's true.
Wow. That's not my choice.
If you
know what I say.
Out of the pram there.
If you keep Maguire based on, unfortunately, what people don't understand is the man is the club captain.
You're preaching to the converted.
He's the club captain. So whether you like it or not, whether you like him or not,
Firstly,
or not,
you're a host. You're not allowed an opinion. We've had this conversation before.
No,
you're only allowed an opinion when you're asked. You can't just lead a question and answer it.
Oh, second of all, I am asking the question. I said if you're going to get rid of Maguire, you should get rid of everybody. It's a question.
Well, based on these
basically
guys,
on what you've said.
Based on these guys and England performances and good players don't become crap overnight, apparently, then you'd have to keep Shaw. The other geezer, he's neither here nor there.
Okay, nice one, the angry one. But so now, based on, I like what you've said, based on what Dunk and Neil said, England performance, a good player doesn't turn bad overnight. So if we're looking at country performance and how wonderful an individual looks, Paul Pogba. Plays for France. It's amazing.
Well, first of all,
but here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. So Pogba plays fantastically for France, yeah, but he's not English. So everyone will say, "Oh, Pogba, he's crap." But the same argument that people give for Maguire should be afforded to Pogba, really, because he plays fantastically for France. But
let me stop you there.
He doesn't get that same thing.
Well. First of all, country's got nothing to do with it. Apart from
it has because Maguire's playing good for England, but whack for Man United.
Maguire's not even playing great for England anymore. No, I'm only keeping Maguire because I think till Christmas because he needs to stay. But Maguire tries. I would keep Luke Shaw backup. Telles is never going to make it, is he? He's shown that he hasn't got that progression that you need. Like Theo Walcott.
Luke Shaw isn't injured though.
Yeah, but backup. I'm not keeping him in for the first team because he can't play enough games. If we want to get on Paul Pogba, of course he can play well on the France team. That is a good unit of a team where he can walk around, saunter around the pitch at a slower pace of football and not care. And no one cares that he doesn't care because they've got world-class players in that team that are winning. No, you don't build a team around a player that doesn't have the attitude. That's his problem. He turns up every week like he should be having the team built around him. That's what he feels. But he hasn't shown any commitment to the club. Like, he's left once, he's going to leave again, and he's not signed a contract. They've offered him one. So A, he's not shown to me any commitment. B, he's not performing well. And Man United at the moment can't afford a luxury player like Pogba just to be sauntering around
But
the pitch because they don't
isn't
have.
Maguire a luxury?
No,
Because he's
Maguire
whack.
was in till Christmas. Should he
Maguire's whack.
facilitate it?
But you're hoping that he won't be whack in the future. But he's whack.
Dunk,
No,
let me
we're
ask
giving
you.
him.
Dunk, let me ask you this. Neil says Maguire should stay till Christmas. Does that mean he will play all those games till Christmas, or he should just be on the bench and then we'll judge him based on when he comes in? Because
I think he needs to not be club captain. Definitely. Like, again, like when you look at the problems with Man U on the pitch, and we're just talking Pogba here. Pogba's not working at Man U. Like, he just let him go. I don't think they ever should have re-signed him. Did Fergie ever give an opinion on when they re-signed him?
Yeah, he said he said he shouldn't have been re-signed.
Yeah, he was dead right. Shouldn't have re-signed Pogba. Again, show pony for Man U. Not pulling his weight. Not playing for the badge. Gone.
Okay, all right.
Agreed with Maguire.
Okay, thinking of moving on, having a conversation earlier with some guys, off air, and there was a talk about Bruno Fernandes, wonderful player, having what I think is a good influence in the team. But Bruno Fernandes has just signed a new contract, and a lot of people believe that he's not a Ten Hag player. Based on what we've seen this season, and well, since he's been in Man United, Neil, stay put, give him club captain.
Yeah, so I'm thinking at this of a realistic clear-out point of view. You can't get rid of 23 players. Like,
We know that.
Let's be sensible about like who we can. Even hypothetically, there's no point of saying let's keep 2 players and get rid of everyone because they're not going to be able to sign 23 players. They can't afford it, and they haven't got the luxury of that. He stays for me. Again, I'm looking to replace him with a better quality player, but he can pass. He's got a fairly good attitude most of the time, and he scored 10 goals this season. So he's actually contributed to the team, whereas other players in the midfield haven't contributed literally anything. But you're right. Is he the Ten Hag type player? Probably not. But actually, sometimes you need a good sub to come in, and he is a very, very, very good sub.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
So not correct
You
me,
are?
but enlighten me. Enlighten me here. When people talk about the right attitude you should have as a player and playing for the badge and stuff like that, what is wrong? As Mike asked earlier on, if a player has his abilities based on you having to build a team around him, why not just build? If you're going to buy him, so surely you should build a team around him. And I think so. Like Paul Pogba, Mourinho brought him back to Man United, and you already know the kind of player he is. Bruno Fernandes, as it stands now, they say, oh, he tries too many things. And I remember some episodes ago, there was a talk of, oh, he has to adapt his style because of Ronaldo. So what is wrong with playing around Pogba? If that's the player he is, and that's what you bought him, why haven't you actually tried? Why have you tried everything else?
Him.
No, not you. We're not doing hypothetical here. The point is, they've tried Pogba in every other position, but the one thing Man United hasn't tried is actually building a team around him, which is the player he is. So why are they blaming him?
He's not that. He's a saunter. He's a Chris Waddle, but not as good. He's walking around the pitch, sauntering like a show pony. Everyone agrees here he's a show pony, but actually with no end product, he's no creativity. He's not offering anything for United. Yeah, he hasn't. How many assists he got?
No. In one game he got 4, to be honest. But here's the thing with Pogba, he doesn't suit.
He has no creativity.
He doesn't suit the Man United team in the way they play. To be honest, he's a world-class player, but he doesn't suit their play. That's it, and that's their fault because they bought him.
He's the perfect example of what Mike was talking about earlier. Just Neil buying big names for the sake of it. He's the perfect example of that.
You bought him, and you don't want to use him in the right way. That's the question. Man United's fault.
We know it's Man United's fault, but the question is this: they say he's not the type of player. His attitude is not good. He's this, he's that. But you have played the guy in every other thing apart from the one thing that he does well. Why is it? It's Man United's fault. We know that, but
because they got Bruno there.
But why is it even before Bruno came? He was there way before Bruno came. I don't know. He was there way before Bruno came. I think the only season
Pogba should be playing out wide. He should be playing out wide left or right, like he used to do for Juve when they bought him, right? He played out wide, and he's less of a liability out wide because he doesn't try hard enough, and that's his problem, right? If he's playing up top and he can saunter around up there, and if he's only up to the halfway line and back to the halfway line, fine. But he isn't.
But for France, he doesn't do that. For France, he plays in front of two pivots that do all the hard work for him, so that he can saunter and do the stuff. Because that's players have a certain type of play, right?
Yeah, of course.
And we know what his style of play is. So you can't blame an alligator for turning around and biting your hand because you know what alligator is going to do. He's going to bite your hand. You know what type of player he is.
100%, right? I wouldn't have signed him in the first place.
So then why purchase that type of player and then say, he doesn't run, he doesn't do that. But you knew that when you bought him.
It's like Tuchel and Lukaku, right? They shouldn't have signed him either.
I don't think we should question if they should or they shouldn't have signed him. We're talking about rebuilding the We're talking okay, fine. We're talking about rebuilding the Man United.
Not for Man United. Yeah, he's got to go. He's not doing it for Man United.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, right? He isn't that type of player that Man United need or want. What about you, Dunk?
Actually, Neil, you said that he had no creativity.
He doesn't have any creativity either.
Gone.
I'm not happy with it.
Just like Man U, we're cutting Pogba loose. Let's go on to the next dude. Come on.
Yeah,
He's gone.
Instead of actually,
go, JJ.
I'm asking questions. It's that simple. You want to cut the player. It's for one criteria that you give for one player. Surely it should be for everybody else. But you guys have your opinions.
No, why would you have the same criteria for every player? Like Ronaldo, he doesn't defend. Great, but I'm not going to cut him because he doesn't defend. But I'm going to cut Pogba if he doesn't get back. The criteria is completely different.
All right.
Everyone's agreement. Pogba's gone. That's unanimous.
It's not about the agreement; it's the reason to the agreement, Neil. If it was a case of
let's different reasons, but he's.
I mean, for your reason, Neil's reason, Pogba is not creative.
Well, he's saunters around and he's not creative enough for me to carry him in a team. That's what I'm saying.
Apart from all that,
it's attitude.
He's not performing.
We said Maguire tries. Fergie saw his attitude.
No, you said that. I didn't say that.
I agree that Maguire tried. Yeah.
Okay,
does anyone think Pogba's got the right attitude?
No.
I don't think Maguire's got the right ability. But anyway,
Pogba first. If we go back to Maguire after.
Okay.
No, Maguire.
We're going past Maguire. We're going past Pogba. Dunk. Let's put it this way. Let's assume transfer stuff is on you. We want to rebuild the team. Tell me the players you get rid of, and tell me the positions that you try and equip my United team in. We'll start with Dunk, and everybody else can follow.
Jesus Christ, he's just dumping it all on my lap now, isn't he?
Okay. Take it away from your lap. Put it in your head.
We were just talking about Fernandes. Fernandes is a player I keep. He's quality. Let Ten Hag work with him. So I'm keeping him. I think Neil's been a bit harsh saying keep him as a sub and get someone better. He's pretty bloody good, Neil. Like, I think he's good enough. Like, you get him working. Again, this is where you need to... Whatever it is, the manager, the structure of the club, you get the players can do it working. So Fernandes is there. I'm keeping Rashford as well. Let the new manager work with him, see if he can fix him. Again, get him working in the team. I think, like general, there's been this whole talk of players like losing confidence, not knowing like where they stand with the team, being dropped, being left out. Maybe they feel they're performing better in training. Those kind of issues. So again, it's an endemic thing at the club that just needs to be sorted. But yeah, Fernandes I'm keeping, Rashford I'm keeping, Ronaldo, let him go. Again, like not good for the long. He's getting goals, but again, not good for the long-term future of the club. He's another like Pogba type big superstar. They don't need that right now. They need a team.
Here's Neil. Do you think the new manager should start by working a system and then keeping the players he wants to work with that system? Or is a case, how do you think he should approach it in terms of Ten Hag?
I think there's got to be... So Man United have gone out to get a manager, right? No one's gone to put their CV in, right? So let's be on the front from the start. If they've gone to him and he has turned around and said, we need X, Y, and Z. These are the players that I don't think are going to be good enough. These are the players that are definitely not good enough. That conversation, I'm hoping, has already taken place, and it shouldn't be taking place after he's come in. If it hasn't taken place, a monumental issue there for Man United, because that should be the first point, and they need to work with whoever they can work with at that particular issue, because it's the epidemic. So then you're going to look at the players and go, how much time do you give them? I mean, some players are going to need some time, so they're going to get he's not going to be able to get 12 players. Like, there might be a 5 clear out and a 5 in, but he's not going to be able to get them in. So he needs to think, right, what do I need? And his system will be, I don't know, 4-3-2-1 or 4-2-3-1 or 4-5-1 or 4-3-3, whatever his system's going to be at United. He's going to have to take stock of what he's existingly got and go, right, I definitely need a spine of the team. And hopefully he signs what he believes is the spine of the team, whether that's wing backs or forwards and 2 centre midfielders and a central defender. And that's where the tactics then going to come from. He needs to try and bring the United players currently, whether he keeps, to believe whatever he is going to do is going to be right. There's not one player in that United team, unfortunately, that you're going to build a team around, because the really good players are old. So you're not going to build a player around them. And you're looking to build. So the system has to come in from there, but that system then has to filter down, like I said before, to every other youth team as well, B team, and everything else. That has to be the new United way. This is the blueprint. This is what we do. This is how we do it, and this is how we're going to achieve it. And that has to be bought in at board level, recruitment level, and then last but not least, player level. And we know players, like you say, have got no accountability. And everybody that has no accountability and goes, well, I'm fucking brilliant, gone, right? Because they have to have accountability for that team. And that's going to be the key thing. If they don't, like Aubameyang at Arsenal, he goes, still their best striker, hands down, but you have to say, enough is enough. You need to play for this kit and this badge and team view.
So,
it's on the shirt. It says team view.
Sorry, Jay. I just quickly jump in. Like, I think Neil's dead right. The first thing he said about having those conversations before, and the thing I was just saying, like the question you asked, like if he does that, if he like just picks the players for his system, like he's instantly going to alienate half the players that are there, or whichever players, and you're not getting out of the situation you're in now and the bad club harmony by doing that.
So basically, right, you're saying, so you're watching Maguire. So we just had this massive debate about Maguire, Pogba, they're good, they're not good, keep him, don't keep him, yeah? But we're looking at these players playing for another manager in another system. Are you then going to say, because, and Maguire as an example, and Pogba, both, play well in another system for another manager at international level, but don't do it for their club? So is it rational to say, well, I've watched a video of you playing for somebody else in another system, and I don't think you're going to make my system, so I'm just going to cut you just like that? I'm not sure that he's going to do that, because certain players will respond, because you haven't had a chance to meet the player, you haven't had a chance for them to play in your system, blah 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 blah. And like everybody's saying now, you can't buy 12 players at once. So unless somebody's completely terrible, yeah, I think he's going to keep most of the players, at least in the short term. Or unless they've already drawn up a list, which is not him, which is Ranić saying, this guy's going, then that's fine. But I don't think he's the one that's just get rid of all these players, because he hasn't even seen him play in his system. So anyway, I think that he's going to get players in that suit his system first, and build the team around them. Like Neil or maybe it was Duncan that said, there's nobody in this current team who we think that they can build a team around. So he'll build this team around his own players, and then whoever else fits. Whoever doesn't else fit, then goes. I think that's how he'll do it. But I mean, I could be wrong. We'll see.
Neil, in terms of the rationale, so this is the thing. The question I ask is, which he has answered. If the conversations have happened, and you say it's also not rational for him to just get rid of players like that, I think it's you can, when you watch football as a manager, I think that, yes, you're saying, oh, there's a system I have in mind. Clearly, the other manager didn't play that system, so Pogba might fit the system. But if he has had that conversation, as you mentioned earlier on, he clearly knows who he wants to get rid of, and he clearly knows who he wants to give a chance, right?
So can I ask quick interject real quick? I think as an incoming manager, aren't you more likely to talk about who you want to buy than who you want to get rid of? because it's more about getting your own players in, isn't it?
But
I'm not sure that you go to a club
could he
and say,
be also?
I want to get rid of 10 players.
He could be told that look, our wage bill
I-
is this. For you to buy this amount of players, you have to get rid of some players. So who do you want to get rid of?
but that's after the fact. But the initial conversation is who I want to buy. If the club say, okay, you can buy them, but you need to get rid of something, that's a secondary conversation.
I think it's the same conversation.
The initial conversation.
I think it's the same conversation.
Well, it is, isn't it? No. Oh, okay. So if I say I want to buy 10 players and they say okay, and I don't have to get rid of anybody,
you can't buy 10 players because you'll be making the squad too big.
But for example, so the first conversation
I don't
is
know
what
the
it
first
isn't who you want to get rid of, is it?
is, but I'm sure it'll probably be all. It'll probably be all
for any manager. So the manager
Well,
comes in and says,
conversation actually.
So the manager.
I
Any manager
That's
comes
why I'm
in,
asking the question of, are you sure
so
it's
the
not
first
going to
manager
be part of
comes
the
in.
conversation?
So the first manager. So the manager comes in. Oh, it is. Hold on, but the manager comes in and he doesn't think about who he wants to buy. He thinks about who he wants to get rid of.
But once again, what I'm saying is, I don't know what the conversation will be. It is. How do you know what is secondary conversation? However you want to label it.
No, I agree.
Because you're going to get your own players.
How do you know? How do you know the conversations? What do you go secondary, not secondary?
And I think it's naive to think that like he's not going to have studied the Man U squad in detail.
No. I'm not saying he's not going to get rid of players, but surely one of his conversations is going to be who he brings in, or you think he's not going to bring nobody in.
I agree with Jay. Like these players are out of contract. These players, like I don't want to work with for whatever reason. Like he has to get rid of some. We've said, like Mike said, he has to get rid of 23 or whatever. They have to get rid of some. Like they can't. He's not going to be a magician. He's not going to walk in and get that existing squad working magically. They have to get rid of some. So the conversation is like these players are out on contract, gone, cut them loose. These players don't have the right attitude, don't want them, or for whatever reason. Like he's going to have an idea. I don't think if he takes your idea of like just seeing everyone in training, then they're just going to be lumped with a load of shite for another season and bad squad harmony.
And also there's going to be we're talking about what he says. There's also going to be the club going, actually we're not going to sell Sancho, for instance. We've just bought him and actually we believe he's the future. So these are the X, Y, and Z who you've got to work with, right? But these players, so there's going to be 3 lists, right? There's going to be players he's got to work with. There's going to be a list of players that he wants to keep. There's going to be, what do we do with these? And there's a list of, these are all out of contract. So the out of contract players are a no-brainer for culling the wage bill, regardless. Doesn't matter who it is, and unless they're pivotal to what he says that and how he wants to play, or the board so they can keep keeping them, they're gone because it makes no sense to keep these players, right? That's a get out of jail free for everybody. The ones to sell, you've got to think of like, who do we sell and how do we offload them? How do we get the money for them? And then who do we bring in? His conversations would have already been as well, but probably not on the first day, is what is the transfer budget when I come in? They're not going to say I've got 5 players lined up, because actually it was done pretty quick, right? Them going to Ajax and saying we want him, and them having that conversation, because Poch has probably got a lovely little list that he's been working on for the last 6 months of who he wants to sign and how it's going to work when he goes there. But this happened overnight on a probably a fag box in a pub by the looks of it. It happened that quick, right? It came out of nowhere. So he probably hasn't got everything. So the how much have we got to spend is going to be there. How is the wage budget and that, and who do you have to keep? Because there will be players that Man United say, well, actually, we've just spent, 75 on Sancho. He hasn't had a good season, hasn't hit the ground running, but we believe that he is a player for the future, and that will be a conversation that they will have had. He would have known. He would have hopefully gone into this with his eyes wide open, as well as the club have gone into it eyes wide open of, we have to do these, but actually, whoever we get in, for once, we have to fully back and have a full process and project, not a half-baked one. It has to be a full one of, you're the manager, and this is it. I'd like to see him bring in recruitment guys, new coaches at the back end of it, bring it full top down, bottom, everybody his own man. Maybe there's people that he needs to look at coaches-wise to see whether they can understand what he wants to do and get that out of them. Completely understand that, because he's not going to know these people at all. But for the footballers, he's gonna have a good idea. He could go back and watch every single Man United game in less than a month, right? And go, right, he's no good.
So Maguire's
Yeah,
gone
he
then.
might go. You know what? I
So
can't
Maguire's
work with him.
gone,
He's not good enough
is
for
what
me.
you're saying.
But Neil from Grassroot Chat thinks he's good for 6 months, right? For 3 more months till Christmas at least. You know, get rid of him out on loan. But who wants Maguire at the moment? That's the other issue, right? So there's going to be a toss up between realistically, who do you get rid of? Pogba, they're not going to recoup 150 million for, right? And they've offered him a contract higher than anyone else has offered him. But rumors are he's still going to Real Madrid. So yeah, there's no way he's going to go play for Pep because he won't play hard enough for Pep, and that's the problem. No creativity.
All right,
Sorry,
ladies and
JJ.
gentlemen. Sorry, what are you sorry for?
I was just assumed you were going to ask another question now.
No. I said, well, let's see. There's going to be a big split in terms of the midfield. Matic is retiring. Mata is going. Lingard will probably go. I just hope that Ten Hag does the basics in terms of filling the positions that actually need filling or improving the player stuff. And all the players that come back on loan.
Don't forget Van der Beek is one of his old players as well. So maybe he'll get some life.
But there were so many players who are either retiring or out of contract anyway. It's like, it's almost like Neil says, it's almost like pretty much a lot of the culling, a large part of the culling is just going to happen.
He could want to keep some players that want to go. The same way he might want to get rid of some.
But like, okay, but people you mentioned, so the Matiches, the Pogbas, that's 2 already. The Matters, the Lingard, that's like 4 or 5 players already. Marshall ain't come back.
Seville is not keeping him at all because he hasn't done well there. Nope. He's not doing well at all. He's not even making. I think the last few games, he hasn't even made the squad. So it is the club will have no choice in sending him back. I don't know.
He's sellable though. They'll get money for him. Like he's one of those players like we just spoke about players that you couldn't sell, like Maguire.
So 6 players.
He signed for whatever it was, 80 million. He's going to be on stupid wages. Someone like Marshall, you could sell.
You can sell. No, you can sell Maguire. You can.
Well,
to who? Sheffield Wednesday, is it?
Newcastle.
I don't even think he's better than any of the defenders they have there now. So, okay. Well, we shall see what happens. Ten Hag might come with a different style, different approach, different system. He might want to keep certain players and get rid of some. But it is a tough job he's going into. The question is, will he be given enough time? Especially since he's a manager that was approached by Man United. And Neil believes he wasn't the first choice. It was probably Pochettino. But yeah, that's true. I'll ask that last question. If you think Pochettino was the first choice, do you think Pochettino turned Man United down? As in, no, I don't want to be your manager. Then they went for Ten Hag.
I think they waited too long on him. And I think it got to the point where it looked like PSG were going to be done with him at the end of the season because they didn't win the champs. But actually, it doesn't look like that's the case now. And I think they might have a mini clear out at PSG to help him, which I think will do him wonders of getting his. I mean, let's be honest, he hasn't got any of his own players in there. He's just been given all these quality players. So that will be an interesting change of how that works. And PSG, short of anyone else outside of whoever's got a job, there is no one bigger to come in. And I think that's, other than Zidane, that I've said before, that wherever he ends up going, which seems to be nowhere at the moment, whether he's waiting to go back to Madrid in another few years, I don't know. But there's no one good enough or big enough that PSG are going to want to come in. So that seems to be like, no, because they already said they weren't going to let him go, didn't they? And then that just died in the water. But I think Man United should have brokered that deal earlier, and I think they would have got him at that particular point. Now they've gone out and gone, right, we need this guy in, let's go and get him. And I just hope the conversations have happened up front and they've been honest on both sides in order of what is obtainable and what isn't obtainable.
Well, Man United don't play for 2 weeks. Still, 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks? No, but they don't play till the end of the season. Last game, since we've already played 37 games. So while everybody else is going for more points, we shall be chilling. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The rebuild, Ten Hag has, a hard job. Maguire might stay, Pogba might go. Who knows? He might convince them both to stay. That's another wonderful season for Man United fans. The duo staying. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed what you heard, ladies and gentlemen. If you like what you hear, what you see, please subscribe, hit the notification button. We shall be back with more Kickabout shows. Till then, it is goodbye from Dunk.
Cheers for watching, guys.
Goodbye from the Angry One. Goodbye from Neil.
See you later.
Take it easy, guys.
Till then, more things.